Alright, here in chapter 6, we're going to start finding sides and angles of oblique triangles. So when you're doing oblique triangles, you cannot use SOHCAHTOA because SOHCAHTOA can only be used on right triangles. And a lot of these problems, I'm just going to be setting up proportions and solving them, and so it's not going to be too bad to solve a proportion. However, you are going to need to draw some triangles as well. So here for example 1, if you're given two triangles on one side, if you have the triangle ABC and you have angle A is 30 degrees, angle B is 45 degrees, and side A is 32, we have to find the remaining angle and side. So let's draw our triangle first. So we'll draw an oblique triangle that's not right. So we'll say this is side A, or angle A, angle B, and angle C. And angle A is going to end up being 30 degrees, and then angle B is 45, and then we also are going to know that side A is going to end up being 32 feet. So side A is across from angle A, so this is going to be 32 right here. So what we need to find is we need to find side B, which side B will be across from angle B, so that means it's going to be down here. We're also going to find side C, which would be across from your angle. So that's going to be side C over here. And then we also need to find angle C. So we're going to find out what this angle is down here. So let's write out what we need to find. So let's say angle C. And we'll say side B and side C. So we can figure out angle C first by just taking our two other angles and subtracting them from 180. So you have 180 minus a 30 plus 75. And so this is a 180 minus, whoops, I added together already. This is a 45. Thinking ahead, so I'm going to be subtracting 75, which gives us 105 degrees. So angle C is 105 degrees. Obviously I did not draw to scale. Don't get too mad at me. Now we need to find sides B and side C, and the way we can do this is we can do this wonderful thing called the law of sines, where if we need to find side B, what we can do is we can take our B over, we can write our side B over the sine of B, and we can set that equal to, well, we have to set it either equal to C over sine of C, or we have to set it equal to A over the sine of A. And since we don't know what side C is, we do know what this is, but since we don't know what this is, then we have to use angle A and side A. So we're going to set this equal to 32 over the sine of 30. So I can actually plug these, I can change this sine of E and make this a, maybe I can change that. I'm going to make that a 45 degrees. So let's do that instead. So if we want to solve for B, this is just a proportion. So when you solve proportions, remember you can just take the, you can multiply diagonally. So you take B times the sine of 30. So we have B times the sine of 30 degrees, which we know will be a half. And we can set that equal to the other side, which is going to be 32 times the sine of 45. Now we could either just plug in our exact values, but since we don't have to find the exact values, then we can turn these into decimals. So this is really going to be a 0.5b equals, and then if we take 32 times the sine of 45. Make sure your calculator is in degrees. So if your calculator is not in degrees, you need to change it to degrees here. So then we're going to take 32 times the sine of 45, and that gives us a 22.6274. So if you divide both sides by a 0.5, then we're going to get side B. So divide by 0.5 is going to give you B has a length of 45, and we'll round to the nearest tenth here. So B will be equal to a 45.3. So we can plug that in over here for B. So now that we know two of our sides, and we know all three of our angles, then we can now find side C the same way we found side B. So if we get 61.8, there are the other three remaining sides you need to find. Alright, so let's take the sine of C. Actually, we're going to find side C. We're going to take that over sine of C. And we're going to set that to, might as well just do A over the sine of A again. So if we plug these values in, C we don't know. We're going to have the sine of 105 degrees is equal to our side A, which is 32, and angle A, which is going to be a sine of 30. So in order to solve this, same thing, just multiply like a proportion. So you do cross multiplying, and then we'll eventually divide by a sine of 30. So we have a C times the sine of 30, and that is equal to 32 times the sine of 105 degrees. So let's divide both sides by sine of 30. So just be careful when you plug these values into your calculator that you need to make sure your calculator is in degrees, and make sure you use appropriate parentheses when needed. So if we take 32 times the sine of 105, and then we're going to divide that by the sine of 30, we should end up and get a 61.8. So that is going to be side C.